Hi there, this is Smart Haddad here again. In this lecture, I have to start speaking about the IP version 6. So IP version 6 is a successor for IP version 4. So because we now know that IP version 4 has most of their addresses used, and there are a lot of places in the world where the ISPs cannot provide any more IP addresses to their customer as IP version 4, then IP version 6 came and it is a successor for IP version 4. So I just put this picture because it really shows what I'm going to explain in this lecture, that you see that this fish is moving from this small aquarium going to this big one. This is IP version 4 and this one is the IP version 6. So just I put this picture just to let you understand what is the idea that we are getting now. So on IP version 6, we do not have any more 32 bits. Actually, IP version 6 has 128-bit address, while IP version 4, it has what? 32 bits. So that's much bigger, the address on IP version 6 compared to IP version 4. So if we do the calculation, how much IPs we will get on IP version 6, so we can do 2 to the power 128, then we will end up with this number. Can you imagine? This number means this is the number of IPs that IP version 6 can provide. So I just made here a list to say that if you want to count this number, how you can count them. So let's start with the first one. It is 340 undecillion, 282 decillion, 366 nonillion, 920 octillion, 938 septillion, 463 sextillion, 463 quintillion, 374 quadrillion, 607 trillion, 431 billion, 768 million, 911,000, and 456 addresses. So yeah, it's a bit funny, but yeah, I just wanted to mention that, and it took some time for me to know all about those, the undecillion, decillion. So, but yeah, now maybe you know something new. And we never, when we make counting, we mostly go most of the time to billions, maybe trillions sometimes, but not more than that. So yeah, just an idea to let you know how many addresses we do have. So can you imagine how big IP version 6? So IP version 6 is a protocol that will provide us IP addresses for really long years ahead without being exhausted. So that's the main idea of the IP version 6. Now, if we compare the IP version 6 to the IP version 4, so this means that IP version 4 has only 0.0000 until 1.26% compared to IP version 6. So you see that how big is IP version 6, and that's the beauty of IP version 6, that it has very large IP addresses. That means we will not have any more shortness on the IP addresses, and also see later that also on IP version 6 we can do and apply subnetting as well. So, but yeah, IP version 6 has really very large number of IP addresses that we can use to be able to provide, in case we are an ISP, to provide our customers to be able to go to the internet. And that's why there is a transition from now from IP version 4 to IP version 6, and we see that many ISPs nowadays are using IP version 6. That's why we as network engineers, and if we are working on MikroTik products, we should know how to configure the MikroTik router to work on IP version 6 in case the ISP is dealing with us on IP version 6. So we should know how to change everything from IP version 4 to IP version 6. But also in this course, I will show you how you can use IP version 4 and IP version 6 together with the many protocols that I'm going to explain to you about them. So this lecture is a bit short, but it's just an idea. So you know now how big IP version 6 is, and if we compare it to IP version 4, we will see that we have much larger IP addresses than we have on IP version 4. And the main idea to remember is that on IP version 6 we are using 128-bit and not anymore 32-bit like we had on IP version IPv4, and that's one side. Now I will speak later about the IP version 6, like for example, the notation that you use on IP version 6 is not anymore decimal as on IP version 4. Like for example, on IP version 4 you say 192.168.1.1, for example. That's decimal. But on IP version 6 you don't use decimal anymore, you use hexadecimal. So that's something also I'm going to speak about it later. So this is what I wanted to explain in this lecture. I hope it was informative for you, and I will see you in the upcoming lecture.